Am I the a-hole for wanting a divorce after my husband gaslit me into believing him flirting with a coworker was okay because I was just hormonal? I'm a 30-year-old female, married to my 34-year-old husband for over 6 years. We have 2 beautiful children, a 3-year-old and an 8-month-old. We've been together for over 10 years, and our relationship has been amazing from the beginning. About a year ago, I was approximately 6 months pregnant. I noticed my husband paying more attention to his phone whenever he came home from work. So, one night during dinner when his phone kept dinging, I asked him about it. I asked, "Who has your attention lately?" It was a female coworker who had just transferred to his department, along with a good colleague of his, in this group chat. I had never heard of this female coworker, so I tried to play it off as my husband being nice to a new colleague. Days went by, and that phone became the bane of my existence. It constantly dinged, and I was fighting for his attention whenever he got home from work. I had enough, so one night while he was showering, I went through his phone. And there it was, the group chat, along with Instagram messages between just my husband and his female coworker, teasing each other about work. I confronted my husband immediately and confessed that I had indeed gone through his phone. I was certainly embarrassed, as this was a first for me, but I explained that I had a hunch something wasn't right and needed to see it for myself. I pointed out that the group chat was quite unusual, but the private chats on Instagram were highly inappropriate for a married man. I simply requested that he refrain from having private chats with her, but I was comfortable with the group chat. He agreed and apologized for making me feel that way. A few months later, I am approximately 8 months pregnant. As we were returning home from a summer vacation, my son's iPad began dinging repeatedly in the backseat of my car. Unbeknownst to me, my husband had inadvertently connected his iCloud to our son's iPad. Suddenly, there she was, repeatedly appearing on the iPad, sending text after a text, and this time, there were even pictures. I was at my wit's end. I confronted my husband with such rage, anger, and distrust. His reasoning was, "You're just feeling hormonal right now. This isn't you. You're not the jealous, insecure type. Once you're no longer pregnant, you should get to know her, have a drink with her, and you'll like her." Using my own hormones and emotions against me, at 8 months pregnant, I unfortunately caved, believed him, and left it at that. Shortly after welcoming our newborn baby and adjusting to our new family of 4, we experienced pure bliss. However, our blissful state was short-lived as paternity leave ended and my husband returned to work, along with my husband's female coworker. One evening, after we had tucked the children into bed, I found myself browsing through my husband's phone, admiring pictures of our children. Ding, it's her. I instantly and without hesitation opened the conversation and my mouth dropped. It was a conversation where my husband was begging her to work a specialized assignment with just him, the 2 of them alone in a car, 5 days a week. I felt an instant wave of regret. Regret for not listening to my gut months ago and letting him gaslight me into thinking this situation was all in my head because of my hormones. Now I want a divorce, but my husband is now begging me to not ruin our family. So Reddit, am I the a-hole for breaking apart this family? Now for the top comments before reading the updates. It's so disingenuous of your husband to beg you not to divorce him when he was actively pursuing this other woman until you confronted him about his behavior. Had you not gone through his phone, he'd still be sniffing around that woman and lying to your face every day about it. You should most definitely divorce your husband. He's not worthy enough to be your partner. I did ask him this too. I asked him, what would happen if I never saw this conversation? He told me he'd most likely continue to lie to me about it. He lied and manipulated you in the most vulnerable moment of your life. And now he's saying you are the one ruining the family? You will never be able to trust him again with your vulnerability. Why stay? Leave him. There is nothing to save here. He's a master manipulator and you're easily manipulated. Please go into the next one with your guard up, and everyone who cares about you guards up. I never thought I was easily manipulated until now. Our entire relationship has been absolutely wonderful, so I was easy to make believe this was all in my head and heightened by my hormones while pregnant. It hasn't been until recently where I see my babes and think, you will not have a mother who is emotionally controlled by a man who wants to be a half-assed husband and father while he steps out on us while he's at work. You're not ruining your family. He did. He's proven that she is more important to him than his marriage, his wife, and his kids. Expecting you to put up with such blatant disrespect is mind-blowing. Put you and your kids first because he sure as heck isn't. Take screenshots of the text message threads and send them to your phone. Same with the Instagram messages. It's good to give these to your lawyer if you really plan to divorce him. And after consulting with an attorney, maybe send them to his HR department at work, especially if the pictures she was sending were the racy type. I'm actually friends with his boss's wife and may have already dropped hints about how I don't like this girl because she is a pick-me girl. I've planted the seed. Now for the first update. After reading all these comments and absorbing the advice, I finally realized that I'm not hormonal and not the sole reason behind this marriage failure. So, thank you for validating my feelings all along. As for my husband, I've asked him to leave the house until I've made a decision. Initially, he didn't believe me, but when I took the kids and told him he better not be here when I return with them, he was beside himself. He completely lost it. He's begged me to reconsider, offering to block her, leave his job, and do anything else to keep us together. But a few months ago, I politely asked him to stop texting her privately. His response was, I thought I was just being her friend. I didn't see it the way you did. What upsets me is that he didn't take me seriously back then, but now that I'm packing up our kids and leaving, he suddenly takes me seriously? We'll see what happens when I get home. To be continued. Second update. I returned home from an evening out with my kids, grateful that my husband respected my wishes and wasn't home when we arrived. After putting the kids to bed, I received a text from my husband asking if he could come over and talk so we could resolve our issues without involving the kids. I agreed. As soon as I opened the door, he handed me his phone. On the other line, I heard her, the female coworker. She was saying, "Hello? Hello?" I immediately hung up his phone and demanded to know why he wanted me to talk to her. He claimed they had been discussing all night how they could convince me that they were nothing more than just good coworkers. I reminded him that this marriage is between the two of us, not three, and that the only person who needed to address this mess was himself. He insisted that I speak with her, and even had the audacity to suggest getting that drink I told you to get with her a few months back, when you were no longer pregnant and crazy. I told him, get out and have that drink for me, because we are done. It took considerable effort to get him to leave, as he sobbed about leaving his children, but I didn't care. He clearly still wants to gaslight me into believing that this is my issue with her, not his issue with disrespecting our marriage and his crazy hormonal wife. Now for the last update. Hi Reddit fam. It's been almost 5 months since I've updated all of you on my original post. I haven't forgotten about you all, and I've thought about updating many times. I was just waiting for the perfect moment, and I feel like now is that time. We are divorcing finally. Originally, we took some time apart to cool off, dig deep, and think about what we really wanted, while trying not to let any of this affect our children, to the best of our ability. We did couples therapy, individual therapy, and even a vacation away, just the two of us. Everything just felt like it was falling back into place, like before any of this was even a thing. I was starting to come to terms with the emotional affair and the gaslighting until, well, I'm sure you guessed it. The female coworker came back. Not that I think she ever left. I was so close to trusting him again, but for shiz and giggles, I went through his phone one last time. And by God, wouldn't you believe I found a picture of my husband in his female coworker's car running errands for her? I didn't need an explanation. I didn't even read the context of how or why he was there. I simply laughed. We put the kids to bed, and I said, "Do I need to make you an errand list in order to get your full attention?" He automatically knew exactly what I was referring to. I told him to get out and maybe call into work the next day because he should spend the day looking for a divorce lawyer. And really, that was simply it. We are currently in the divorce process, and it's going as smoothly as you can imagine. Getting all his legal advice from coworkers. Laughing out loud. Again, I just wanted to say thank you all for all the love and support. My hormonal self thanks you from the bottom of my heart. Girl, I knew it. I am so proud of you for not falling for his BS. You gave him every chance, and he spit in your face, trying to convince you they were just friends. I'm curious, but did he run to her? I can only imagine if they weren't having relations before, they are now. However, it wouldn't look good in court to be in a relationship with the women you were having an affair with while claiming you weren't. Automatically untrustworthy liar. She sounds like someone who likes having men running after her. I can imagine now they have the opportunity to be together. She's gonna drop him so quickly. It would be this awful cycle where if you got back together, she thinks she can resume the dynamic because in her head she's doing nothing wrong. So, if he has a need to flirt with a female coworker, doesn't that make him hormonal? He is disrespectful and treating you like a child. Right? The projection is wild. If anyone was letting their emotions run the show, it was definitely him. Classic case of deflect and disrespect. Next story. Am I the a-hole for exposing my dad's affair during our family vacation? Last week, my parents took us on a family trip to a lake upstate. I work away a lot and haven't really been around to see them much, so it had been planned a while in advance at a cabin a relative owns, and we'd all been looking forward to meeting up again. My dad was acting kind of weird compared to the last few years the whole time, and didn't really engage as much as usual with our mom or the rest of the family, sitting in other rooms more often, doing nothing, and generally being disconnected. A couple of days in, we were having dinner, and I saw his phone dinging with notifications from Laura before he moved it from the table into his pocket. Out of curiosity, I looked at his phone while he was watching a movie in the other room. I know his password is my sister's birth year on everything. Turns out he'd been having an affair for months behind my mom's back. He had a ton of back and forth pictures and discussions about meeting up again with another woman. I was going to keep quiet and focus on finishing the trip before heading back, but crap hit the fan during an argument the night after. We collectively got drunk, and his behavior came up. Things got ugly fast, and I dropped a nuke by revealing I'd seen his phone and the other woman. Total meltdown. Mom cried, my sister yelled, and Dad called me a sneaky little shit for destroying the family. They left early, and now his side of the family is harassing me for not handling it privately, and it's miserable on my mom's side. But he was never going to tell her. Am I the a-hole for making sure she knew, even if I chose a poor moment? Now for the top comments. Bah ha ha ha. You're the sneaky little shit. When your dad is sneaking around and having an affair, projecting much pops? Your mom deserves to know the truth, even if it was a tough moment. Exactly. He made his bed. Let him lie in it and face the consequences. Not the a-hole. You owe him nothing. Not the a-hole. I will say, I might be a bit biased as someone who recently found out their husband cheated. But whether you told your mom, he told her, or she found out herself, the information would have sucked. She'd likely be crying anyway. I can't speak for her, but I'm glad you told her, especially if you think your father wouldn't have. Sure, maybe you could have pulled her to the side and told her privately, but she'd likely be feeling the same way. Also, you didn't destroy the family, he did. He lost his right for having things handled privately when he chose to privately message other women and keep it a secret. I am so sorry for your pain. It's a horrible journey. Is he even remorseful? He says he is, but actions speak louder than words, and the actions aren't actioning. Yep. I hope you don't consider reconciliation unless you really weigh things out. And Dr. Kathy Nickerson is a psychologist who specializes in infidelity. She does great videos on TikTok that are informative, and she has a book. But basically, unless they cut off affair, get into counseling, share passwords, etc., then they aren't even trying, and they want you to be their doormat. Last story. Am I the a-hole for saying my special birthday dinners aren't special for me and I don't want them anymore? For years, my mom and stepdad have only eaten out or gotten takeout from one place because of my step-siblings' allergies. Both have an allergy to peanuts and other kinds of nuts. My stepbrother 11 has a dairy allergy, and my stepsister 12 has a seafood and shellfish allergy. Their allergies were diagnosed around the time my mom met my stepdad. When we all moved in together, it became an allergen-free zone. I, 16 male, was 7 at the time. It didn't bother me too much until I realized how strict they'd be about it. Even though my stepbrother could be around dairy, I wasn't allowed ice cream or any chocolate that had milk in it. I couldn't eat pizza either because of the cheese. Then my parents found a restaurant that had no nuts, shellfish, or dairy, and they decided we'd never eat or order takeout from anywhere else. It's kind of vegan, but not strictly vegan, I don't think. I don't like their food. It all tastes weird to me. They don't even have regular fries on the menu. It's either another vegetable used as fries or sweet potatoes, which I hate. I hate eating out or ordering takeout because of it, and for years we've celebrated all our birthdays there with family. I found other nut-free restaurants that had allergy-safe menus, but my parents wouldn't even look at the menu. They said we had our restaurant and we didn't need another one. Whenever I asked if we could order from different places for my birthday, they'd say no. They said we always get takeout from there, and that's where we'll always get our food. A few times they said it's too much work to try out new places when we have it easy with our choice. My special birthday dinner never feels special because I can't eat anything I like. For a few birthdays, I was grumpy and withdrawn when we'd eat there, and my mom would tell me to change my attitude and appreciate what I have. And the family that gives me a special dinner for my birthday, that not all families could afford to eat out for their birthdays every year. Last year, when I turned 15, I got into a fight with my mom when I told her my birthday dinner should be something I like, and I didn't want to eat that nasty food anymore. Mom said that was such a disrespectful thing to say. And what about my step-siblings? What are they supposed to do if we go somewhere else? I said other than nuts, they can be around dairy or shellfish, and they're around all that stuff out in the wild. So why do I have to be punished because of their allergies? My stepdad told me to watch how I spoke because it would hurt my step-siblings' feelings and his, because he'd like to think us being a family and able to eat together was enough. When we got to the restaurant, I was miserable, and they kept correcting me for looking angrier than usual. After that, I swore I wouldn't do it anymore. So a couple of months ago, before my birthday last week, I told them I didn't want a special dinner or meal with the family, and I was done with eating as a family for my birthdays, and for anything else like my graduation. I told them it's not special for me. I hate it. I don't like the food, and I'd rather ignore my birthday than deal with that. They tried to plan a birthday dinner anyway, but nobody showed since the rest of the family knew how I felt. My parents are angry that I'm being this way, and my mom tried to make it about the step thing, when this would be annoying even if it was just me and her. Who wants to eat crap they don't like on their birthday? Like, seriously, am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Allergies can be incredibly dangerous, but there are ways to let other people live around those allergies. Your parents have instituted this policy out of laziness or fear and are upset that you're calling them out because they don't want to feel bad about being lazy and cowardly. They also don't like that other people now know about it. You're not responsible for their feelings, and they've ruined enough. I think their laziness is a big part of it, honestly, because I did the work for them, and they wouldn't even read or consider it. Your mom sucks, and you can tell her I said that. Not the a-hole. Make plans with friends from this point forward, or other family. Do you have a license now that you're 16? If so, you can eat in other places and not tell your parents. Talk to your step-siblings though, and let them know that it's not about them. I don't have a license yet, but I'm hoping to get it soon. Making plans with other friends I can and already do, but I'm not sure if my parents will try to stop that or something. With me rejecting the family dinners as they are, it's kind of a wild card of what their responses will be from here.